Okay, so today we're going to move on to talking about another operation with monomials, and this time we're going to be talking about dividing them. And so we're going to talk about the quotient rule, which if you remember from 8th grade, when I divide two variables with the exponents, I'm going to subtract. Let me just change pens. That one is dead. I'm going to subtract the exponents. Okay, so here, for example, I would have the x to the 5th divided by x cubed. I'm going to have x to the 5 minus 3, which is x squared. Okay. Now, if you remember, again, here we have 3 and 3, so if I subtract those, I end up with m to the power of 0. And if you remember from 8th grade, there is a 0 power rule. Anything to the power of 0 is 1, so that's also something to remember. So I'll just put it over here so we can remember. Anything raised to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, so make sure that you keep that in mind as well as we work through these. Okay. Alright, so also keeping in mind, if you have multiple variables, we're only working with the ones that are like. So here, 7 minus 4 becomes p cubed. 16 minus 12 becomes q to the 4th. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're working through these. So when we are working with coefficients, we want to make sure that you divide the coefficients and then simplify the variables using that quotient rule. So for example, on number 8, we would do 14 divided by 7, which is 2. R squared divided by r, remember that that is an understood 1 there, so it's going to be 2 minus 1, which just leaves us with r, or r to the first power, you could write it that way. And then 2 minus 1 again is s, so 2rs. Same thing here, except for 4 divided by 8 this time is 1/2, so keep that in mind. N to the 5th divided by n to the first power, that 5 minus 1 becomes n to the 4th. Notice that I did not put that n down on the bottom. You can either put it at the top or you can put it out beside, but it does not go to the bottom because it is a numerator, not a denominator. So again, we can kind of work through other examples of those. So if we look down at the bottom here, we have some mixed practice where we can practice these skills that we've been working on the last couple of days over all at once. And so we want to remember that the power rule says that we multiply those exponents together. Multiplication, we add them together, and then division, of course, we subtract them. So, for example, here where we have 3x to the 5th power squared, we're going to square the 3, so it becomes 9. We're going to take that 5 and we're going to multiply it by 2, so it becomes x to the 5th. Then we're going to divide the 27x cubed, so 9 over 27 is 1 over 3. X to the 5th divided by x cubed is x squared. We're subtracting those exponents. So just taking it one step at a time, using your order of operations. We want to take care of this group on top, the exponent first, or the power, then we take care of the division. So keep those things in mind. Oh, I'm sorry, I wrote 5. That was actually a 10. Let me correct that. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 minus 3 here is 7, so it should be x to the 7th power. Sorry. So it's just a few more additional examples of this. So keep in mind here, we're raising this to the power of 4, so 2 to the 4th power is 16. C to the 4th power is c to the 4th. D to the 4th power becomes d to the 16th power. And then we're dividing that by 2 squared, which is 4. C squared squared is c to the 4th. Remember, we're multiplying those exponents. D cubed squared is going to be d to the 6th power because we're multiplying those. Then we can use division. We're going to divide and we're going to subtract the exponents. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. 4 over 4, or 4 minus 4 is c to the 0 power. And then 16 minus 6 is going to be d to the 10th power. Then what happens here is this c is really 4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by d to the 10th power. And so, there we go. That 4 and that 1, it's not necessary to have them both there. We can simplify that and it becomes 4 d to the 10th for our final answer. So there's just a few extra steps and things, but just take your time and go with the order of operations on those. There's plenty of practice here that you can do using those skills that we've been talking about. Let's look at one additional couple of practice problems here. Looking at 23, so remember on these we got to do our exponents first, then the multiplication, and then the division. So exponents first, we have 2 squared, which is 4. X cubed squared becomes x to the 6th power. Then 3 cubed is going to be 27. And then y to the 4th power cubed is going to be y to the 12th power. Okay, then we're going to multiply these next. We ended up with 108 x to the 6th, y to the 12th, and so because these aren't the same variable, we don't add the exponents together in the multiplication, we actually just include both of those variables multiplied together. And then we have that 12 x to the 4th, y to the 5th. So now we can do the division. So 108 divided by 12 is 9. X to the 6th divided by x to the 4th, we subtract those exponents, we get x squared. Y to the 12th divided by y to the 5th, we subtract those exponents, we get y to the 7th power. And then another example like this down here at 27. Here again, same process, but now we have this exponents, we have multiplication, we have division, and then we have subtraction, and that's the order that we're going to do them in. So 2 cubed becomes 8, m squared cubed becomes m to the 6th. Then we have 3 cubed, which is 27, n to the 4th raised to the 3rd power is n to the 12th power. And then we have that over 9 m to the 4th power n to the 7th power. Still all of this out here as well. We're going to multiply next the top, and so we end up with 8 times 27. I don't have off the top of my head. 216. So 216 m to the 6th n to the 12th divided by n, 9m to the 4th power n to the 7th power. Okay, then we're going to divide these next. So 216 divided by 9 is 24. M to the 6th divided by m to the 4th power is m squared. And then n to the 12th power divided by n to the 7th is n to the 5th. Still subtracting that 18m squared n to the 5th. Notice that we do have like terms here. It's an m squared and an n to the 5th. So because we're subtracting, we can actually go ahead and subtract those. And so our final answer, we're only subtracting the coefficients. Remember, keeping the exponents the same when we're adding and subtracting monomials. We end up with 6m squared n to the 5th power. Okay, so again, a lot of steps, but just following the order of operations and using those exponent rules that we've been working on over the past several days. So just keep those things in mind as you're working through these. But plenty of additional questions to check your understanding. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to help you with those.